Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you like to see some? Hey, how you doing? It is now Monday, very early in the morning, or I should say it's Sunday, very late in the evening. Currently 12:16 a.m. and I'm here to talk about the markets and what we have in front of us. First of all, as you all know, and for those people that may be watching this sometime in the future, I'm recording this at a time when the nation, the entire world, is under lockdown because of the coronavirus pandemic. We've been on lockdown for a couple of months. The country is suffering. There's over 30 million people out of work. 30 million! A greater catastrophe than the Great Crash of 29 or 2008 or any crash ever. And it was all self-inflicted. We're sitting here waiting to see whether or not a rolling plan of bringing people back to work is going to lift us out of this morass, this quagmire, this filth. And the market, God bless the market, the market is cheering this move on. It has all the faith, by virtue of its pricing, that this rolling plan to come back out of the pandemic, get back to work, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. The Nasdaq is actually in positive territory for the year 2020. Here we sit, May 11th, 12th? May 12th. No. Yes. May 11th. Here we sit, May 11th, 5 months into this year. 30 plus million people out of work. In front of us, possibly the greatest recessionary period at its precipice. I mean, it's hard to say that it's started yet because nobody's doing anything. And the Nasdaq is almost at all-time highs. The market dropped 30-something%. It has regained 60% of that drop. I'm talking about the broader markets, the S&P, the Dow. And, of course, the Nasdaq, which has just, it's on fire. Led by the big tech giants who are, by all accounts, the big FANG stocks. By all accounts, they are actually benefiting from this pandemic. Because everybody's at home watching them or utilizing something that has to do with those stocks. Facebook, social media, it's on a high. Apple with their phone. Who cares about an Apple 12, an iPhone 12 or 13 or umpteen? Netflix, everyone's binging. Amazon, people are buying off the hook. I know that, for example, in my house. the Prime truck, the Federal Express truck, the UPS truck, the United States Postal Service truck are all visiting my house on a regular basis, on a daily basis. We've got a bunch of buyers in this house. And I'm no different. So those FANG stocks are just leading the Nasdaq. And we're just spending like wild drunken sailors without a care in the world. Now, I have to say that there's lots of people that are suffering tremendously. And they're going to suffer even more. Some people are doing okay. They can pick up business. They can create business. They see opportunity. That's what I'm all about. Seeing the opportunity. In any kind of event, there's always opportunity. There's certainly opportunity here in this pandemic for enterprising people. That is not to discount the terrible suffering that is going to go on. And I just wanted to point out this dichotomy and also talk a bit about a signal that we have generated through our service called Pattern Cast. It's called a macro signal. This is the same macro signal that called the drop of the market in February. On February 18th, actually February 20th, I believe it was. That was the first day of the big drop. The macro signal came out a few days before that and called this drop. That same macro signal has hit again in a much stronger way, a much more definitive way. And so I thought, it's worth telling you about that. What does it mean? All I can say is that every time the macro signal hits this level, we get a massive move down. That's all I can say. So far. There's always that first time when it doesn't do it. Maybe this is that time. But just look at what we have. The spread between the Nasdaq and the rest of the market. 30 plus million people unemployed. And by all accounts, there's probably going to be another 5 or 10 million. Some of those jobs, many of those jobs, are never, ever coming back. That's because we're going to be living in a new post-pandemic world. Something that many of you cannot even imagine, are already experiencing it now. Just think of retail, a clothing store. You're not going to be able to go into dressing rooms anymore. No. Try on clothes? Heck no. You might be contagious. They might let you take it home, try it on, then you bring it back. You say, that one doesn't work. This is not going to work for retail. I was we picked up some Chinese food tonight. And the entire restaurant has been cleared out. They only do takeout now. You come in one door, and you used to leave through the same door. Now you have to go through the restaurant, through sort of a gauntlet, and pick up your package, and then out a side door. And, they're doing this for the protection of people that work there and also the patrons. So it made sense. Every place that you go, you have to wait in line with the social distancing. I went to Home Depot the other day, doing some repairs, installing a new toilet, and I got there, And there's 100 people in line. And it's cold out. I didn't feel like standing in line. So the wife told me that Ace Hardware was open and there's no line there. And I thought, wow, that's odd. I can get the same stuff at Ace Hardware. It's not a big box store, but I can get what I need. So I went there, picked it up, got what I wanted right away, went home. It's interesting. Very interesting. Used to love going to, well, we go to Costco. The wife goes to Costco, once, twice a week, or has been for years. And that's a painful experience now. They're only letting, I think, 300 people at a time or 200 people at a time in the store. And they wash you down and Trader Joe's, that's a hellhole. They'll only let like 20 people in the store, much smaller stores. And they're so strict. The one thing, I'm thinking about some of the big changes that are going to happen. Like these big box retailers, the Walmarts and Costco's, and, well, maybe not so much Costco's because they can locally source. But the ones that rely on efficiency and low prices and bulk buying and global supply chains like a Walmart. It's hard for me to think that they will survive, at least in the current model that they have. Sure, they have inventory now that they can go through, but those supply chains, those globalized supply chains are going to start drying up. Well, they've already dried up. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that most of them are not going to be revitalized. And so that means that they will not enjoy the efficiencies that come with global supply chains. Supply chains are going to get domesticated, brought at home, more manufacturing jobs. Being in a city is going to be a non-starter, man. There's going to be no opportunity in a city for the average person. Who's going to want to go to work? UBI will start taking its place. People will start making more on their unemployment and UBI and all these other benefits than they would have at work. Will they ever go back? I think there's going to be a mass migration out of the cities, moving out to rural areas. It only makes sense. I mean, why would you want to be cooped up, packed like sardines with a bunch of other sick people? Makes no sense. So many changes I can see. But to think that people are going to all of a sudden just go back to their jobs, those jobs, by necessity, by cultural exclusion, are not going to exist anymore. Just not. Now, I don't understand why anybody thinks that Bitcoin all of a sudden is going to have some use in this new pandemic, post-pandemic world. Adam, dump trucks for BTC. I just don't see it. What is the use case? Same with Pothead. Why? Bitcoin? No fucking way. There is zero use case for Bitcoin in this situation. Digital gold. Fuck that. Real gold. Real hard assets are the only thing that really make any sense. You have to handle cash with crypto. No, you don't. all my cash. Well, see, I've got my cash stashed on my wallet, but I also have these handy little things. No different than Bitcoin. Actually, much more useful than Bitcoin. Got my Venmo card coming. Will this happen tomorrow? All right, so Solanko wants to know, will this happen tomorrow? And I think he's referring to the macro signal that I talked about a little bit earlier. Will it happen? I don't have a strict time frame on it, but every time this has been deeper and has gone deeper than other macro signals, so I believe it's going to happen soon. Like I said, no guarantee. It's just that every time it's happened before, we've had a big drop in the market. In Kazakhstan, they're almost being released. Here in Massachusetts, we were supposed to initially be released on May 4th, and now they've pushed that back to May 18th. Another week away. I bought a pool table, and I've been waiting for it. It's only a few minutes away, sitting in a warehouse. And I have to wait for another week. Buy something online using gold. Sure, I can do that. I can buy something online using gold. All right, hold on. Where is it? Must be in here. Ah, there it is. Yes, I can buy something online using gold. With this doohickey right here. See that? You can't buy anything online using Bitcoin, except for other bullshit things. How much of a chance do you think there is for UBI? It's already here. It sounds like the policymakers are not too keen on more bailouts. That's only because they have to try to manipulate it to make it look like, they're the hero or whatever. It's going to come. It's going to have to come. Because you can't let people live in the streets. No one is going to want to touch gold. Why? You don't have to touch gold. Gold has the Kavefi on it. No one wants to touch cash in the wallet. People will take the cash still. They've got their latex gloves. No problem. Tell me, if I go and give this C note or the stack of C notes to a proprietor, you think that he's not going to take it? The idea of moving out of cities to rural areas sounds good. Way overcrowded in most cities anyways. Yeah, cities are a pit. Okay, Pothead says, okay, buy something online with gold with no middleman. Who the fuck cares? You think that is a real use case benefit? Seriously, you think that because there's a middleman, I will not get my shit. Fuck that. I get it. And I don't have to worry about price fluctuating. I know exactly what I'm paying for it. Stop giving me this shit about a middleman. It's an unreal, totally nonsensical benefit. That isn't physical gold, Ernie. Yes, the gold that is in this account, is physical. I can redeem it. They'll send it to me. Which I have done before. Do you agree with Peter Schiff's analysis on the market and the economy? You know, the thing about Peter Schiff is that he's a perma-bear, or seems to be. He will not admit to that, but he's right when it becomes bearish. So, you know, I mean, do I agree with him? I don't agree with a lot of things that he says, but, you know, the way he's talking right now is the truth. You know, 10 weeks ago, it might not have sounded like the truth. Where do you price gold for 2020, 2021, Ernie? Asked Michael. I don't see gold. I see gold pulling back. Perhaps to 1450 as low as 1350. Either pulling back. Now, I've been talking about this for a while. Either pulling back and then making another run for 1750. But until it can gain that 1750 level and hold it for a while, gold's not going anywhere. Gold is equal to BTC if you are using a gold card. You know, you really got to get off of it, Anthony. Yes, gold price fluctuates as well, but it doesn't have anywhere near the volatility of Bitcoin. And gold is $11 trillion market, and Bitcoin is a $150 billion or maybe $200 billion market. Come on, get your head out of your ass. Miners are middlemen in BTC. No, they're worse than middlemen in BTC. Miners make Bitcoin centralized. I have no idea about the news unit and where he lives. I think you, Schiff, are going to be stuck in the past. You can say stuck in the past. The problem is that you're stuck with this idea and you can't let go of it. When you have attachments like that in life, they only result in one thing, and that is suffering. You are so ensconced with this idea that Bitcoin is somehow going to be your savior that you're going to miss all the real opportunity. It's gone nowhere. It's not going anywhere. There's no new people going into it. Nobody has money to put into Bitcoin. You know, so you can believe whatever you want. Fine. And that's right. It is too complicated for the common person. Most people don't want to deal with it. Most people, the vast majority of people, view Bitcoin as dangerous. Not only that, but most of the miners for Bitcoin are in China. Think about that. And that's right, there is no privacy. And it can't be decentralized. It can be taken over by a nation, China, or miners, or the developers, or whales. Do you think they'll do UBI after civil unrest? Public property damages, etc., hits a certain limit? Or do you think that they'll do it before chaos? I don't think it matters. They're going as civil unrest maybe gets to the precipice on the event horizon. That's going to be even more of an impetus to put that UB out there to try to quell the masses. But I don't see any real civil unrest happening just yet. What I do see is I see tremendous opportunity. So I think that what's happening in the world right now, people are realizing who the real demon is in all of this. They realize that it's China. They're going to be backing off from China. Some are just too entrenched that they cannot, but they will, they'll suffer for it. The United States is definitely going to back off, along with all the swap line nations that we hold dear. Those are the nations that we provide liquidity to their central banks. They are, in fact, our friends. So, if you're going to do business overseas, only do business with those swap line nations. In particular, our original swap line nations were Canada, England, Europe, or most of Europe, the Bank of Japan, Swiss National Bank, Swedish Bank. Now it's the Swedish Bank, Singapore, Norway, New Zealand, Mexico, Korea, Denmark, Brazil, and Australia. Those are the banks, those are the centralized banks that we have swap line agreements with. Those are the ones that we're going to guarantee liquidity to. They are our strategic partners going forward. So, if you're going to make bets, that's where you want to stay. But I think that we're going to, again, pull back, domesticate those supply chains. Like I said before, there's a lot of opportunity in this pandemic for enterprising people. Think about it. And I think one of the biggest opportunities you could take advantage of is to sign up for my newsletter. Got to plug that. That's the Asymmetric Advisor. Link is down below. I want to thank everybody for showing up here. Please give this video a thumbs up. And just remember that I said it here. The macro signal is telling us that dark times are ahead. Yeah, even darker than right now. And it will only stay that dark if you choose to let it consume you. So, take care. If you want some ideas, come over to our side. Love to talk to you. Next week, there will be a webinar on Saturday. You're invited to it. What happened to Bull Ernie? Well, Bull Ernie was a bull before the pandemic came. What happened to Bull Ernie? See, this is the problem with somebody that is blinded by Bitcoin. They only see Bitcoin. They don't see what the real world is out there. I see the real world. Woke up. Jesus. All right. Everybody, thank you very much for coming by. We'll see you tomorrow. Actually, that will be today. Take care.